HawkFanatic.com is brought to you by Big Dog Tech Solutions. Dr. Lance Forbes, Diamond Dental in Cedar Rapids. Streets Maintenance. The Ox Yoke Inn in the Amanas. Premier Automotive in North Liberty. Senior Benefits. Diamond Dream Sports Academy. Harty and Stocker Jewelers, 101 South Dubuque Street, downtown Iowa City. The Midtown Family Restaurants. 1-800-800-ROSE, the Supple family, Supple's Flowers. GT Car with Supple's Building and Remodeling. Mike's E-Keys for Cars. Steve Anderson, Hawkeye Title and Settlement, and Patrick Eads and his staff at Deary Brothers Ford on Mormon Trek. Here's Tom Suter, Pat Harty from HawkFanatic.com, and Coach Don Patterson.
All right, well, good morning, Coach. Before we get into Saturday's heartbreaking game, 1985 team was back almost in force over the weekend. And why don't you tell us a little bit about how that went for everybody?
Yeah, we saw you on the field.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, that's for sure. It's hard to imagine it's been 40 years. We think of them as still being kids, and of course, they're in their early 60s now, most of them.
They're my age.
Late 50s. So, but I'm proud of so many of them. And I've always said this, you guys heard me say it. If you're in our program for 4 or 5 years, that would be true for Hayden Fry's program, for Kurt Ferris's program, or for the program I had at Western Illinois. I never worry about our guys after they're done with football because they are ready to take on the world. And a lot of their success shows that really is true. Mm-hmm. A lot of them have gone on and done great things with any and all walks of life.
No, you're right about that. And for me personally, I got there a little earlier than I normally do, so I could go down. And I got to see George Davis for the first time in probably 40 years. I don't know if I ever saw him much after high school, but it was just, it was so neat being able to see George, and saw Jimmy Morrow, saw Chuck, of course, there. But for me, Jimmy and George are two guys I grew up with, and I could tell they were having a great time. They were thrilled to be back. Ronnie Harmon was back. It just seemed like it was a really neat event, well-deserved. Congratulations to you, Coach, and I'm sure Hayden was smiling, looking down. And, we just wanted to start with that before we get to the unfortunate conclusion of the Indiana game. And Tom and I were just discussing before we came on the air, there's been a lot of negativity towards the Iowa defense. And, missed tackles here, this, blah, blah, blah. To me, Don, Indiana scored touchdowns on their first and what was essentially their next to last possessions of the game. The first one came on a short field. Without the defense, they kept Iowa in the game. I thought the defense, I don't get that. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'd like to remind all those people that are critical. I believe they were averaging something like
559. 559.
Yeah. So to hold them to the number that we did, and even their coach, who's sometimes a little full of himself.
Oh, really?
Even he was able to say nice things about Iowa's football team, and deservedly so. I thought our guys played their guts out. Yep. They really did.
Yep.
Played hard. The breaks didn't go our way, but we certainly gave a great effort. I knew we would. And to all those Indiana fans, I guess we could say, even though we lost the game, I told you so. Nobody comes into Canada and runs roughshod over us.
No.
No one.
And
to include them.
There were times during that game, the second, third quarter, where Mendoza, they couldn't do much.
They couldn't do anything.
There were 3 and outs. They just could not do anything. You could tell Signetti was getting more and more frustrated. And I thought the Iowa offense made strides. I thought Gronowski was playing well. He had a high completion percentage, not big yards on his completions. They were running the ball okay. What would you say? Did you think, until Mark got hurt, did you think the offense took a step forward?
Yeah, in many ways we did. I was disappointed that we didn't run the ball better.
Yeah, for sure.
But I got to give some credit to Indiana.
Sure, they're good defense.
The thing that was nice, it was a typical Iowa football game. The yards were hard to come by for both teams. And we did a great job of keeping their offense on the bench. I thought our plan was good.
Yes, I did too.
A lot of quick, short passes and we threw for a high percentage. And as importantly as I mentioned before the game, we did a nice job of avoiding sacks.
Yeah, Mark did. He did. You're right about that.
We actually beat them on that category.
Mm-hmm.
We sacked them twice, Graves and Llewellyn. IU only got one sack on us. And then when you turn to quarterback hurries, these are the official stats. I think they're pretty darn accurate. We gave Mendoza 6 hurries. They only gave us 4. It was. I got to say this too. I got to give credit to Mendoza because I'm not kidding you. He got faced a few times.
Oh, he sure did.
Oh man.
Yeah.
He got hit shortly after the ball was released. I got to give him credit for handling the pressure well. And also, he did flush twice for 25 yards. And those were important yards because that gave him a couple of key first downs.
Then in the postgame,
I think one time, come to think of it, one time he gained 14, as I recall. They were a yard short, and we hit him in the head on 4th and 1. So that one didn't pay off for him, come to think of it.
Then in the postgame, didn't he apologize to the point for hurting some people's point spreads with the safety at the end? That was funny watching him run toward the end zone. But Don, as far as the running game, it just looked like they never had much of a surge.
No.
And I don't want to sound like one of those guys, well, if we had him, but I do think Jazz Patterson would have helped a little bit because they were tough yards out there, and that seems to be where he specializes in getting those tough 4- and 5-yard runs where you maybe have to break 2 or 3 tackles.
Right. Yeah, he's maybe, if you want to give a guy credit for being the best and getting hard yards, nothing against Kamari or Washington or our freshman.
McNeil.
Nothing against those guys, but I'd have to give a slight edge
Jazz.
to the guy that wasn't there.
Yeah,
You're
Jazz.
right.
Yeah, he runs. I'm not saying he runs
him.
harder. He just runs more aggressively, it seems like. He's better to bounce off. But still, I mean, they lost the game. I mean, injuries are part of it. I wanted to ask you, the play where Deshaun Lee was put on an island there, Phil blitzed, and both safeties blitzed, everyone blitzed, and, of course, the experts on social media, that's ridiculous, and they got their hindsight. Don, your thought, sometimes you make the call, they don't work. That was a good play. Indiana executed it perfectly.
Well, the one thing I'm sure Phil's going to take the responsibility for the call.
Sure.
And there's no better defensive coordinator than Phil Parker. But I have to admit, as that play unfolded, I flashed back on a quote that you've heard before: "Live by the sword, die by the sword."
Yeah,
that's right.
That's what that was.
Yeah, we simply dialed up pressure one time too many. And I'm not being critical of Phil because he's got an impossible job. He's got to be right all the time. It's hard to do. It's damn near impossible to do. He's going to beat himself up for putting us in that spot. But let's face it, those blitzes helped us a lot over the course of the game. And we wouldn't have even been in the game were it not for us being able to get home a few times with pressure.
Yeah.
In the second half, that very reliable passer was missing some of the time just because he was a little bit fearful for his life. And not for his life, but for his well-being at
Sure.
least. I got to give him credit, though. He got knocked around, and he stood in there and threw the ball well. He's a very, very good quarterback.
There was one play, Don, where Mendoza got absolutely leveled, but he got the ball off a split second before he got hit, and it was a perfect pass, picked up some big yards.
Is that the one to Surratt in the first
Yes.
half? It picked up like 30-some yards.
Yes.
Yeah, they showed that on TV. He got hit hard.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Clean hit, legal
he
hit.
got leveled.
Yeah, he did get leveled.
Yeah, he also got took a hard hit over there on their bench, too. Incidentally, on that play, there should have been a flag thrown on Indiana.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about in the press
Yep.
box.
Yep.
I think you know why. Xavier was assaulted on their bench. That's about the only way you can put it. There were a couple of Indiana players that were right up in his face and pushing him and shoving him, and there's no flag out of all that. That's absurd.
I agree with that. And people were, well, that was not a late hit. That guy was scrambling for a first down, and his body was still on the field when it was just a hard hit.
The contact was made on the field of play, no doubt about it.
Exactly. So yeah, we were wondering about that too. And but overall, I thought it was a game between two pretty evenly matched teams. That's something to be encouraged about as you go into the bye week. But then you also say to yourself, okay, you're 3-2, and you still have to play Oregon
and
Penn State. And I mean, USC came down to earth a little bit. I mean, their offense is still quarterback threw for a lot of yards. Their defense has got some issues, but it's out there.
Yeah, that's right.
So Don, as you move forward into this bye week, I mean, Kirk said that they had a somewhat positive, what diagnosis of Gronowski. I mean, he kind of, I don't know exactly what that, because everyone was saying, oh my God, it's his knee, blah, blah, blah. So he seemed somewhat optimistic. Okay, so what's the mindset going into this bye week? You do this first few days to get healthy. What do you think Kirk's doing? How's he moving forward?
Well, we are lucky to have the bye right now because we have other guys that are beaten up too. So some guys just have to need to rest a few days and recover. We're just lucky we don't play next weekend. Because we'll be healthier for Wisconsin. Incidentally, Wisconsin, let me think who they play now. Help me out. Somebody I know, they're at Michigan.
They are at Michigan, correct.
Good luck with
that.
That.
It's about Michigan. Michigan's going to bruise you up, I promise you.
Oh, yeah.
Just ask Oklahoma. So Michigan's defense is very good, and they'll pay a price. They're not likely to beat Michigan, of course. We know that Wisconsin's problems are well documented in the Big House. I'd be very surprised if
me too. I'd be stunned. Yeah, I mean, Wisconsin's just not very good right now.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they're kind of searching right now, and they've lost their identity. So
yeah,
I would imagine Michigan's going to push them a little further down the hill than where they already are.
I mean, Wisconsin has no identity on offense right now.
No, they don't. But the other thing I'll say is by the time Iowa goes to Wisconsin in a couple of weeks, they're going to be looking upon Iowa as a game that they can win. So they're going to be ready, as ready as they can be.
Yeah.
Well, they've got their backs to the wall. There's no doubt about it.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure Badgers, if they're cornered, they come out fighting, don't they? I believe that's an aggressive animal if it has to be.
Very aggressive.
I'm sure the football team's that way too. We'll get their best shot, no doubt about it. I do think they've got a lot of issues with fan support right now.
Yes,
so
they do.
Depending on what happens, depending on what time the kickoff is, there might be any number of empty seats in Camp Randall.
Well, don't the students get there till the end of the first quarter anyway?
They file in single file,
but now they're not even showing.
Seats.
But now they're not even showing up as much, are they? Because I saw some shots where there were a lot of empty seats.
There were in Badger fans are fickle.
It's low energy.
No pun intended.
But it's low energy right now,
yes,
isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So no, I think that's the most winnable game left on Iowa's schedule by far.
Yeah, I would hope for an 11 o'clock kick because I know if it's an 11 o'clock kick, there'll be a ton of students that will not be in there.
Good point.
That is 11.
They haven't announced the kick time yet.
They haven't.
Probably going to be 11 or 2:30.
God, I hope it's not 6:30 at night or whatever. But okay. What do you think overall with Mark's play? I mean, his completion percentage was great, and they did have a couple more drops. They had the freshman tight end had a critical drop, but overall, how would you evaluate Mark until he got injured?
I thought Mark played well. He was 19 for 25, only 144 yards, but again, lots of quick, high percentage passes, the vast majority of which were caught. And so we did a better job, you heard me say going in. One thing important, we got to do our best to stay ahead of the chains. And we did a pretty darn good job of that. And as a result, we converted pretty well on critical downs. I know we were at least competitive. We might have had a slight edge, I can't remember, on critical downs. I did look specifically at first down. I looked at all first downs for the day. You'll find it interesting because you heard me say an efficient play on first downs 4 yards or more.
Yep.
We actually were efficient on 12 out of 28 first down plays. And that's not bad. That's, what is that? Let's see.
That's about 40.
3 out of 7. So that's 43%.
Yeah, 43.
Yeah. Pretty good, especially when you realize Both of our explosives were on first down. Let's talk about that for a minute. That's one obvious discrepancy in the game. And you heard me say, looking at last year's team, we were not very good making explosive plays with our offense. The good news, our defense was even better about limiting explosive plays for the other team. Well, this year that's not true. Now we still have issues making explosive plays with our offense, and one of the negatives this year up until now is that we're giving up more explosive and super explosive plays on defense. And Phil would say I'm a little bit of the problem because I'm calling pressure packages a little bit more than what I want to. And a good example, of course, was the Indiana game. They had 5 explosives for 164 yards. We had 2 for 43. And of those 5 explosives, 3 of them were, 2 of them, or 3, which one? Let me check.
Well,
2 or 3 of them were super explosive.
Touchdown.
Yeah, the touchdown's obvious, 49.
There was another pass to Surratt.
Gave us trouble, didn't he? He's a good player.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was another play you were talking about where Mendoza got rocked. I think wasn't that a pass to Surratt for like 35, 40 yards? And he did get rocked. And Surratt's somebody that came from James Madison. Yeah. I mean, that's...
And I was super impressed with him last year, and I think he's better this year.
And that played on where they blitzed everybody, and that does leave Deshaun Lee, in fairness, in a tough position, but somebody would counter by saying, okay, well, you still got to make the play as the cornerback. That's not an easy play, though, right? I mean, he was out there on an island, and Surratt made the play.
Here's the one thing that would help Deshaun, maybe. He's going to hear the same thing from Phil. Deshaun, I just want to remind you, the ball has to come out quick, right? There's no other way.
Mm-hmm.
Because on that particular play, it appeared that we actually were bringing 7. I'm not sure. Maybe one guy.
Well, both safeties.
Busted an assignment, but I'll say this: there were clearly only 4 guys that were manned up. Now you might argue that's not an unsafe thing to do because maybe the back can't get out based on how many guys are coming. Clearly, there's only 5 linemen out there, right?
Yeah, he was clearly on an island.
They can block 5. But if you're bringing 7, then you outnumber them by 1. So I guess my only point is, go ahead and line up a little more aggressively. Play with inside leverage because you don't have any help inside. And just know that the ball has to come out right now.
Yeah.
He was too soft. He took a less than ideal angle. And, of course, he had no help whatsoever. And at that point, the race is on. So that's all I can say is Deshaun realized the ball has to come out quick. So play with inside leverage because the safest thing they can do is throw the ball on a slant. That's what they did.
And he hit him perfectly in stride. I mean, no, it looks like an easy pass.
Beautiful pass.
We've seen enough with Iowa over the last years. Those aren't just easy passes you can take for granted.
Mendoza throws a beautiful ball for the most part.
Had he had to adjust or anything, maybe that would have given, Rex Roth? That was the only one that even had. Maybe that would have given him a chance to. But no, it was just executed perfectly. So, but.
Well, there was an earlier play in the game that Deshaun defended well. Another slant.
He did.
And it was under pressure too, and as you pointed out, Pat, it's hard to throw a perfect ball, but that ball was perfect, and of course the Reds got good hands, hit him in dead stride, and at that point the race was over. Really, I can't say the race was on because the race was over.
Yeah,
there was nobody left.
I got to ask you guys, what were you guys thinking when we're 4 plays into the game, 2 offensive plays for Iowa, 2 for Indiana, and it's 7-0? I mean, that interception, and then they executed perfectly on that pass to the corner of the end. What were you thinking, Tom?
I was just thinking at that point, I said, well, this is exactly how we don't want to start the game, but there's a lot of football to be played here. It's going to make it harder.
And Don, I'm sure you were thinking the same thing, right?
Right. Yeah, let's talk about the negative interception. My notes and this is just how we always coached it. But just so you know that's a naked. That's a different form of a naked. We fake to a back coming across the backfield, and now we roll out to our right. And here's the only problem with that: you got to read the overhang linebacker. When I say overhang, The widest guy in our immediate formation is our tackle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our right tackle to the side of the naked. And then they had a guy lined up over the right tackle, and they had an overhang, what I call an overhang, which means the defender outside of that. Well, and then you got to study his demeanor. He's got a lot of weight on his front foot. That tells you he's coming. Now, he might be faking, but you better assume he's coming. And all I'm saying, when you run naked versus a blitz, I'm talking about a linebacker coming from space, coming off the edge from that overhang position. Wider still than the down guy. You follow me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's wider than the tackle. He's lined up outside of an imaginary tight end even.
Okay.
That's how wide he is. He's coming up the field. We stayed in play. I would have argued if it was part of the plan, be prepared to get out of any negative versus an overhang defender that appears to be coming. And that's certainly how Indiana appeared. He was coming. We tried to get the ball out quick, but obviously the guy's up in our face, and the ball gets tipped and the ball gets intercepted. So depending on how he was coached, you could argue, I'll put it this way, if he was coached to get out of the play, clearly it's a poor decision.
Mm-hmm.
If he wasn't coached to get out of the play, I would simply suggest to our coaches, you better think long and hard about running nakeds versus overhang defenders that are very likely to be coming, because at best you end up getting sacked, and at worst the ball gets tipped and intercepted.
I remember thinking, well, this ain't going to be Ohio State 2017. It started just the opposite. Remember that? But I'll give the credit. The defense buckled down, and from that point on, Indiana, until that last, they had bits and pieces of success, but clearly they were frustrated, like they rarely have been frustrated under Signetti. Yeah. And I'll tell you, Don, he works the...
They had 2 touchdowns over the course of the day. One was in the first minute and a half of the game. The other one was in the last minute and a half.
And essentially their first and last possessions. I don't really count the last one, but I will say, Don, Signetti really rides the officials. At least he did say he was all over the officials. Did you? I assume you saw that.
I find him very annoying to watch during the game because he's one that's always whining at the officials, and that bugs me because it looked to me like he was, you've heard me say, a lot of coaches have asked me, give me good advice for game day. I said, okay, I'll give you good advice to the head coach. Never let him see you sweat. Kirk is that way. Hayden was that way. Keep your cool. If you go into panic mode, then the entire team is going to go into panic mode. Mm-hmm. But it looked to me like Signetti did lose his cool a few times.
He got a sideline warning.
He did.
They gave him a sideline warning.
A little bit nervous about how the game was playing.
Yeah, I mean, his offense, they couldn't do much. They couldn't really run they did okay running the ball, but neither team, to me, really.
No.
I mean, it was a defensive struggle.
And it was two evenly matched teams.
That's why I give Iowa hope, but I do think Oregon and Penn State are both better than Indiana. I do. So. Now, I watched that Penn State-Oregon game, and I'm sure, did you see any of it, Don?
I saw a little bit of it. I do have it taped.
Okay, well, yeah, that's right. You were probably with the
look at it.
Penn State's offense
I saw the overtime.
Penn State's offense was not very good. I mean, and Drew Aller was that play he made at the end was just an inexcusable decision.
Terrible.
He only threw for like 137. The Oregon quarterback, much younger, he was much better. Oregon just looked quicker, more athletic, and they just looked really good. But those 2 games are left on Iowa's schedule. So, I mean, a lot of Iowa fans now are trying to, and I know, Don, you don't think this way at all, but Tom, can we do 8-4? Can we do 7? I mean, I don't know what to look at right now.
Going into the season, I picked us
at
8-4. And so, I mean, we're actually...
Did you have them 3-2 at this stage?
No, I had us 4-1 at this stage, so we're 1 behind where I thought we would be
7. Don, you never look at things that way, do you? Do you ever?
No,
now that you're more of a fan,
to those people that say to the optimistic extreme, we can be 10-2, and all the pessimists, of course, see us having a losing season. My only projection, I think we can be 4-2. That's all I'm worried about.
Right.
One at a time. Let's get back on track. Here's the truth. Here's the positive that came out of it. A heartbreaking loss. But again, I don't fault our effort whatsoever on the part of players or coaches. Great effort on our part. I give Indiana credit. They are very definitely a legitimate I'd say a legitimate top 10 team. I guess a lot of critics would say maybe they're only top 20. But either way, we're splitting hairs. They're a very good football
They're
team.
a nationally ranked team.
Yeah, they are. And just ask Illinois, they got absolutely humiliated in their game against Indiana. Meanwhile, our guys were absolutely, I'll put it this way, a lot of the impartial fans that watched the game, they were pulling for Iowa just because of the effort we put into the game. And let's not forget, I give so much credit to our fans, too. If we would have won that game, I would have said we won it because we weren't playing with 11 guys on the field. We were playing with 68,011
it was
in the stands and or on the field. The fans did their part, that home field advantage. Those Indiana players thought they had an idea what our stadium is like, but they found out it was a lot more difficult than what they expected.
I thought the fans did their job, and I thought the coaches did their job. Yeah. It's always said that the coach's job is to put the players in position to succeed, and I really think they did that.
And somebody's got to lose.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought they did everything they could to try to win the game, and I, of course, was in the press box, so. But when you and the 85 players, Tom, you were there. Was it? Yeah. It was pretty. Wasn't that a neat moment when you guys? What did that mean there to go out on the field though, Don, with all those guys? I mean, I couldn't believe how many were back, and it sure seemed loud from the press box. The ovation.
It certainly seemed loud down on the field too. What made it so meaningful? A lot of players said. A lot of those players off those years said, "Coach, it's so great to see you. I hope you've had a good day. And last night was fun for you too." And I said, "Absolutely." Because here's the truth about my situation. This is a 40th reunion. I'm going to be lucky to make it to a 50th reunion. That's just the reality of life.
Yeah.
So I value every conversation that I had on Friday night and Saturday night because those relationships are so special.
Sure.
No less than half a dozen tight ends that played for me back in the 80s were all there. We had a chance to visit with every last one of them, some of which I hadn't seen in 40 years. Because let's face it, it's not very convenient for them to be back in. And Dave Murphy's a good example. Dave Murphy travels the world really with his job, so he's out of country a lot. But he was back. Mike Flagg was back. Mike lives in Atlanta. Craig Clark is nearby, but the reality is we don't see each other very often. Mark Spranger. I didn't see John Hayes because John Hayes, he was not on the 85
No,
team.
he left the year before.
So maybe he didn't. He's a poor guy that chose to come out early for the draft. He was drafted high, but the only negative with that, he missed out on the 85
Could you imagine
team.
John Hayes on that 85 team?
Oh, man.
My God.
Coming out a year early, yeah. So there's another really good tight end that did miss. But when John's done with football, and I realize he's still with Bobby, right? Or where is he now? Is John still?
I believe he coaches with Bob and Chuck in the XFL. That's what
I thought. I think he's still with them. Now, of course, they're not in season right now.
No.
But I don't doubt that John has all kinds of reasons not to be there, mostly just family reasons, I'm sure. But maybe in some ways, the guys that did not play on that 85 team, maybe they felt, I could come back and celebrate too, but I wasn't part of that specific team. And primarily this celebration was about those guys who were actually in that locker room for that 85 season.
Yeah, no, I could see that. And I thought it was cool that Ronnie Harmon came back. I'm sure you had a chance to talk to Ronnie. There's a neat photo out on social media I saw of Dan McCarney in the middle, and then Quinn Early and Ronnie Harmon on his left and right. That's two really good players. Did Larry Station make it back?
Yes, he did.
He did make it back. Okay.
He was not there on Friday night, as I recall. I didn't see him on Friday night. It was too crowded to see everyone.
Okay.
Which is a nice problem to have so many players back. But he was for sure there on Saturday.
Good.
As I talked to him, I think he might have been there on Friday night rather, and I just missed him. But I had a good chance to visit with him on Saturday. What a great player. And this is the thing I appreciate. So many of those guys, in Larry's case, I was able to say, Larry Station, yes, I do remember jersey 36.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I remember your jersey. Because as I've always told the guy, they always say, "How do you remember all of our numbers, Coach?" And I said, "Well, the truth is I don't remember them all. But I do remember all those numbers that belong to the really special players, and that's probably more than half the team right there."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, talking about the guys that played the most prominent roles. Truthfully, I remember a lot of the numbers of the guys that hardly ever played, too. I'm just kind of weird because I remember numbers well. But anyway, great to see Larry. And I swear to God, he could play right now. He hadn't gained a pound.
Well, Don, that's what was amazing. I saw a lot of the guys. A lot of them
still look great.
I mean, Ronnie, Quinn, a lot of them have kept themselves in pretty good shape. I mean, it was easy for Ronnie. He played in the NFL. But that's what I noticed, though, is like George Davis, Jimmy Morrow. These guys have stayed in shape. I mean, I'm somebody who's right their age. It made me feel good to see guys, you know, looking good at our age and what have you. And that's what was so special for me is these guys were the guys I grew up with, them age-wise and everything. And so, no, it was really cool to see them. And I went back and somehow it was on social media. Somebody put a video of the 86 Rose Bowl up, a 12-minute video. And I know we've talked about this before, Don. I went back and watched all 4 of Ronnie's fumbles. And I'm with you on this one, Don. I still say it just happened. I don't think there was anything to it. We've had him on saying the same thing. I went back, the very first fumble of that game, I just watched it this morning. The UCLA guy broke into the line of scrimmage and basically disrupted the handoff. The very first handoff. So there was a lot. The other fumble the guy came from behind him and knocked the ball away. A great defensive play. And you've said that before. Hayden said that. I credit more what UCLA did than this conspiracy theory and that's what, you know, and I don't want to go down a negative rabbit hole, but we've talked about that before, Don. Just your thoughts again.
Well, you're right. I reminded Ronnie of what I told him in the locker room after the game. First off, I said when I first saw Ronnie, well, let's back up a little bit. As you may or may not know, Ronnie actually coached for me at Western.
Yes. No, we've talked about that before. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought we did. And you remember me saying, Ronnie, I can't allow you to coach like this.
It was too critical.
I don't want to beat up on Ronnie because we had one great running back. And I said, Ronnie, I want you to treat all the backs the same way. I don't want you to treat our star running back differently than all the others. And I need you to just modify the way you coach. And he said, Coach, I'm not sure that I'm going to do that. And I said, well, you're not going to coach here then. I'll help you get your next job. But I'll have to ask you to go somewhere else. And you can coach like you want to somewhere else, but not here. And Lisa did ask me. She said, "You're not going to be mean to Ronnie, are you?" And I said, "Of course not. There's no way I could be mean to Ronnie Harmon." And the first thing I told Ronnie, I said, "Ronnie, I want to thank you because there's no player in Iowa football history that has had more to do with our success than what you had back in 1985. That's the truth."
Oh, yeah.
And he said, "Coach, that means a lot coming from you." And then I told him, I said, "I'm going to remind you of what I told you in the locker room at the Rose Bowl, Ronnie, and you've heard me talk about it.
Yeah.
But for those listeners that have not, I said, all I could think to say to him as he's sitting in his locker, I said, Ronnie, I'm going to enjoy watching you play on Sunday." And he looked at me and he had tears in his eyes and he said, "Coach, after today, they're not going to want me." And I said, "Yes, they will. You're still a first-round pick." And he was. He was a first-round pick, and he deserved to be a first-round pick.
Oh, without question.
And I reminded him of that, and I don't think he'd forgotten. He didn't seem to be surprised at what I was telling him, because I think he remembered that conversation.
I think all in all, he was the best player that pound for pound, inch for inch that I've seen play at Iowa. The most explosive. He was just
most versatile. And I'll exclude Niall Kinnick because you kind of have to. But I'd say Ronnie's the best player. And Don, we had Chuck on last Friday to kind of preview the 85 team. And Chuck brought up, and he's done this before, 2 players in his 5 years that just stood out for where they were physically, how they played. And he said it was Andre Tippett and Ronnie Harmon. He just says when Ronnie stepped foot on campus, you're like, wow. And I went back and watched a little bit of the 82 Peach Bowl the other day because I saw that on. And I couldn't believe how good Ronnie was in that Peach Bowl as a wide receiver. I mean, he made it look so easy. I wanted to ask you, before his second touchdown in the Peach Bowl, I'm really going to test you here. Hayden's standing there with Chuck on the sideline. not realizing that Ronnie's standing right next to him. Hayden must have said, "Hey, get Ronnie. Where's Ronnie?" And Ronnie turns and says, "I'm right here, Coach." And then Hayden says something in his ear. Then they go in. Chuck does that little rollout to the right and hits Ronnie in the right corner. Did Hayden just call that play right then, or do you know what I'm talking about? It was Ronnie's second touchdown in the Peach Bowl.
Yeah, I believe so. I'm not sure of that. I can't remember the conversation, anything like that, but I do believe so. And that brings up a good point. People have asked me, give me some ideas about at the end of the game, about how that was going. And I know Hayden thought, and he's right. You've heard a few coaches say this, when the game really gets down to the nitty-gritty, nothing wrong with thinking plays, but you might put even more emphasis on thinking players rather than plays.
I see what you good point.
Get the ball into the hands of the right guy.
Mm-hmm.
For Indiana, it was Surratt. And the only reason that comes to mind, because we were playing with a backup quarterback at that point, so people have asked me, what could we have done to help Brown more than we did already? And I said, well, I'll be honest with you. That third down screen pass, a little bit earlier, I told my buddy in the seats, I said, I'd like to see another screen pass.
Yeah.
And that was a good call. You go back and look at it. If we throw and catch that, I guarantee it's going for a first down. It might turn into pretty big yardage.
Yep.
If we had two blockers, they have one defender in the near term, in close quarters. But the linebacker was in position to be blocked. We actually outnumbered them at that point, and all we needed was a throw and a catch. And the only reason for the inaccuracy, primarily the mistake that Brown made at that point, he threw the ball across his body. By that I mean, if you draw a line from his back foot through his front foot, the target was over further to the left. In other words, his feet were pointing to the right of where the back was. And that was Kamari, I think, wasn't it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was a good point. Another thing to consider, that's a good guy to get the ball to, because let's face it, he had a 22-yard run in the game. His history is that he can make a guy miss. But let's just talk about that for a minute. What other plays would come to mind at the end of the game? Here's a couple that come to mind for me. Screen pass is an obvious good call. 3rd and 5. We just need to throw and catch it. That's all. Mm-hmm. That would give us at the least the first down. And now it's very likely that the last play of the game will be a game-winning field goal. Because at that point, it would be more of a chip shot than anything else. Mm-hmm. And we all know our kicker's not likely to miss. He's only human. He missed. But if you move, let's just say you move 10 yards closer, obviously it's a lot easier to hit the ball between the uprights if you're not so far down the field.
Don, I wanted to ask you something. I wanted to ask you, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to ask you something on Drew Stevens while we're talking about it. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking to Drew about making long field goals and what have you, but he had missed a 38-yarder, and he brought up that, for him at least, he feels more pressure kicking field goals between like 30 and 50 yards than he does from beyond 50, because from beyond 50, if you miss it, you've got an excuse, sort of, well, look how long it was.
Right.
And now he's missed, I think, 3 from within the, do you think something's in his head, or is it just, are they just rare, are they just, I don't know, are they just isolated incidents, or do you think it could be mental with him now?
Well, maybe it's a little bit mental, let's face it, it's just like, trying to think of an 8-foot putt.
Sure.
I mean, you saw guys in the Ryder Cup that, because of the pressure of the moment, couldn't make a putt that they make a pretty good percentage of the time. These guys are such good putters. From 10 feet, they might make more than half of them, unless it's a really tricky break. But if it's a fairly straight putt, with just some break left or right, it's amazing how often they can put them in even from 10 feet. Mm-hmm. And as we all know, that just like the uprights aren't very wide when you get way out there, from 10 feet, one reason that putt's tough from 10 feet is, you certainly might make it, but you might miss it too. It's one of those things that might go either way.
Yeah, that was a big miss. I mean, there's no other way around it. And I'll tell you what, I wanted to make sure to mention that Lutmer interception. What a catch. I mean, that ball was thrown hard. That was an incredible catch.
and let's give some credit to Phil, because again he dialed up pressure.
He did,
and the pressure produced that turnover. That was an inaccurate throw because the quarterback was in a tough spot. He really was. But like you say, it was a circus catch on the part of Lutmer. The only thing I was hoping to see, because you've heard me say this before, unless you have to go out of bounds or need to go out of bounds because of the clock or something, try to stay on the field of play. Because let's face it, half those guys on the other side of the ball are going to be hard-pressed to tackle anybody because they're called 5 linemen. So Lutmer did a good job returning it. He got kind of trapped on the boundary there and couldn't cut back against the grain. But let's just talk about other things to do at the end of the game that might be worth considering. You heard me say, don't think plays so much as think players. When in desperate situations, think players more than plays. I'll give you a couple of examples. Kamari and McNeil come to mind. I like McNeil. He's pretty slippery, as you guys know.
He is.
So he has a chance to do something big. But the first guy that came to mind for me was number 21.
Caden Weechin.
Let's get the ball to Weechin. I don't care if you got to hand it to him. You know, we ran a fly sweep. It was officially a pass. Remember the time we flipped the ball to him, and he ran around the end, and he made the first guy miss, and then he made another guy miss, and the next thing you know, it's a gain at 19 or something.
Yeah.
So Weechin is a guy. Get him the ball. Even if you just got to hand it to him. But other ways to do it, you know, throw a bubble screen. Just throw the ball to him behind the line so that we can be blocking behind the line of scrimmage for him. Run him on the reverse, whatever, different things. Just get the ball in his hands, one way or another. Here's another thing that is just a thought. Let's go back to those last few plays. We went on the field after the touchdown on their part. We had 128. We're on the minus 25. We're 75 yards away. We got 88 seconds. But let's not forget, we still got 3 timeouts. Okay. Now, if not to beat up on our backup quarterback, but if Mark would have been out there, Mark would have been able to handle that situation better than Brown, simply because he's been in that spot more often than Brown.
Of course, yeah.
It is not easy to be a quarterback when the game's on the line. And obviously, the more you do it, the better you get. But anyway, we threw incomplete on that first play. Now we got 2nd and 10. We threw 5 yards to Vanani. I would have gone ahead and taken a timeout right then and there, because it takes time to unpile, and of course it takes time to get lined up. And that didn't kill our drive at all. But that would have been, it wouldn't have bothered me to take a timeout right then. One reason I say that is because we got an inexperienced quarterback out there. So let's give him a chance. And you can debate whether that's a good time or not. I would have probably taken one. We've got 3, but the truth is we really got 4, right?
Oh, the 2-minute
I
warning.
take that back. We do not, because we're under 2 minutes.
It was under 2
There
minutes,
is no 2 minute, 2 minute flag, a 2 minute warning, 2 minute timeout they call it. So I'm sorry, they only have 3. The 2 minute timeout's come and gone.
Yeah.
But anyway, going forward, 3rd and 5, we go 10-yard completion to Phillips. There's another guy that's worth getting the ball to.
I like him.
Because Phillips is pretty slippery, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's emerging as kind of.
No, he looked real good.
He made that catch near the Indiana sideline that was incredible. And yeah, they got to figure out ways. They need to get Reese Vanderzee back too, because they need some bigger targets. That's what I like about Dayton Howard. He's a bigger target.
He should be back by Wisconsin, shouldn't he?
I would think so. The way Kirk's talking, if you can get him back, then you have 2 receivers that are 6'3" and 6'4". I mean, Sam Phillips is 5'7". Nothing against him. Jacob Gill's barely 6.
Right.
They need some bigger targets.
It's nice to have receivers of different descriptions.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
The taller guys, maybe their feet aren't quite as hot as the shorter, quicker guys, but they have a better chance to win those 50-50 balls too.
Yeah, so.
Now, it looked to me like Jacob Gill kind of limped off a little bit.
He did. Seth Anderson didn't play for it because of an ankle injury.
So do we think that Jacob Gill's going to be okay?
It's hard to say.
I was thinking Jacob might just be a cramp. I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
But I don't think it's anything that's going to impact 2 weeks from now. Seth Anderson is a nagging ankle injury. But like Don said earlier, this is a great time for, other than having to absorb a loss, this is a great time for the bye week to get healthy. And But I just think the way Kirk talked afterwards, if they would have known if it was a potential ACL, I think, by then, and I don't think he would have said what he said. But, they'll let us know. We've got the coordinators tomorrow and what have you. But before we wrap up, I can't believe it's already been 50 minutes. I want to talk about some other Big Ten, some other games. Of course, I watched Penn State, Oregon, close game down to the end, two very good teams. Penn State's offense, though, has issues. It really does. I mean, I think Iowa can rattle Drew Aller. I do. If they can get pressure on him, I think Penn State's going to be an easier game than Oregon from what I watched.
I would agree.
And USC's defense has got some issues. I still think that's going to be tough out there in LA. But as you look at the Big Ten right now, Don, what do you see anything, a pattern, anything emerging, or do you think it's clearly Oregon and Penn State? And I mean, what do you see? How do you see it right now?
Well, I'd say right now, Penn State's got issues, of course, simply because and I'm trying to think of their schedule. Who else do they have among the top?
Tom's looking for it. Well, their fans were chanting "Fire Franklin" in the fourth quarter.
They play Indiana, don't they, son? They've got Indiana sometime pretty soon, I think.
Yes. But James Franklin's problem is he can't beat ranked opponents. His record against ranked opponents is atrocious. And there you could hear it in the stadium, though, "Fire Franklin," as the game was ending there. So they win a lot of games at Penn State, but they're not real happy right now.
Well, let's face it. The whiteout, of course, it is a wonderful home field advantage.
It is.
And yet Oregon withstood it. And the way they lost is a problem because here's the bottom line. You heard me say this about 2-minute offense. It certainly applies to overtime also.
Mm-hmm.
One of the coaching precepts of 2-minute offense and overtime, possession of the ball means everything. You turn the ball over, you lose the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just unfortunate. I'll put it this way. Wouldn't have bothered me nearly as much if he overthrew that receiver rather than underthrew him. He underthrew him a little bit. That gave him a chance to make the play. Game over, right?
Don, let me interrupt just a second. Penn State plays at Ohio State on November 1st, and November 8th, Penn State hosts Indiana.
Yeah, they got some. They've got UCLA and Northwestern in back-to-back games coming up,
and then Iowa,
and then Iowa. So I'm guessing Penn State fans are thinking, well, we'll win all three of those games, but I still think they're going to have to fight their ass off to win in Iowa City. I think the Iowa defense is going to keep that game close. Now I don't know what to expect from the Iowa offense, but yeah, so it's going to be interesting. But Penn State fans are frustrated with James Franklin because he can't beat ranked opponents. And
Penn State arrives in Kenneck ahead of Oregon, right? Oregon's the last one.
Yes, Oregon is in November.
The biggies. Yeah, so I'm glad Penn State's first. Penn State will be a challenge, of course, but I think the more difficult challenge is Oregon.
Yeah. Just from playing.
Let's not worry about that. Let's just focus on being 4-2.
Yeah.
But I understand this. An optimist would say it's still possible we're 10-2. Let's just worry about being 4-2, and then let's see what happens.
Yeah, they got 7 games left.
That's right.
There's a lot of.
Obviously, if we knock off Wisconsin and gain confidence in doing it, and let's say it this way too, the Indiana loss is painful, but we gain confidence in general. We gain confidence with how we can play.
Yeah.
We went toe-to-toe with Indiana, and Indiana's pretty damn good.
No, you're right. And I watched Minnesota had a real dogfight with Rutgers.
They did.
Callie McManus continues to play well, but Minnesota found a way to win the game. I mean, they did. They were at home.
Well, the other thing is the Penn State-Oregon duo that we have to play. Nobody's going to be giving us much of a chance. So we're going to be able to relax.
Just like this past week.
And have fun and make some plays. I think, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting back to Brown having to be in that 2-minute offense, it's debatable whether we should have taken a timeout with that first completion or not. But one thing that's without debate in my mind, don't leave the field with those timeouts still in our pocket. At the very least, let's take a timeout on 3rd and 10 and talk about, because clearly Brown's in some deep water at that point. That's a lot of pressure to put on a quarterback that doesn't have that much game experience. Let's have him as much as we can. And then if we do get the 4th down, let's take another timeout and figure out what that last play should be. And one thing I thought we might have done, you're aware that this is an option. One thought with 4th and 10 is just to haul off and throw a Hail Mary. Let's see if we can throw the ball all the way down the field and have a jumping contest. Because we all know they call it a Hail Mary for a reason.
Yeah.
Odds are against you, but we see tip passes all the time that are caught for touchdowns. And the way the Hail Mary goes, you've got a jumper. It'd be our tallest receiver. And then you've got one receiver beyond him and one short of him. If the ball's tipped long, we have a guy that has a chance to catch the tip. And if the ball's tipped backwards, a chance again to catch that tip. And to those that say we might not be able to do all that in the end zone, if we come down with the ball on the 5-yard line, that's okay. We still got some time. So throw the ball up for grabs if you have to. That would have been better than just a seam route, I think.
One thing that's missing from this offense right now that's been part of Iowa's offense, even during tough times, they're not getting balls to tight ends where the tight ends are gaining a lot of yards after the catch. Now, maybe that's just because Sam Laporta was so good and Kittle and what have you, but it just seems like even in lean years where they've had trouble, they've always been able to sort of bail out and use the tight end as a security blanket because they're easier throws, but it just doesn't seem like
they've had a lot of drops.
They've had drops. I mean, Van Naming's had at least 2 or 3, but Ortworth hasn't. I can't remember the last time they hit Ortworth in stride going down the field. Is that am I reaching for straws here? What do you see, Don? Do you think the tight end needs to be more involved?
No, you're right, Pat. The only thing that surprised me is you mentioned guys like Kittle and Laporta, and I thought you might mention a guy named Marv Cook, too.
Well, Marv Cook, yeah, that's another one. I was just kind of trying to keep it in this century. No excuse to Marv because he is younger than I am. But, no, you're right. I mean, well, you could say more than Marv. Tons of different tight ends, even tight ends that didn't go on to play in the NFL, had bigger roles in the offense than what these tight ends are doing right now. And
you're right. And Ortworth is above average as a runner. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can catch him in stride, he's not going to juke anybody out of their shoes, of course, but he will get down the field at a good pace. He'll turn an intermediate route into a big gainer, yes.
So maybe that's something they can work on during this bye week. But again, the key thing is they have to get healthy. They have to take advantage of this time off, and I think it'll be good for everyone, media included. And then it's on to Wisconsin, must win to me. If you're gonna if you're gonna make anything special out of this season, you cannot lose this game. I mean, and you're right though, Don. They'll take it. Nobody takes it better than Kirk and the Iowa culture than one game at a time. I wanted to ask you before we wrap up. I know this will thrill Tom because he loves Iowa State, but Iowa State I know Arizona's not very good, but they beat them handily. I mean, do you think this is a chance? This may be this could be the best Iowa State team ever if they keep going.
They got a shot.
Yeah, maybe. I just don't know that they don't have the big play potential they had a year ago.
They don't seem to, no.
But let's face it, one thing that still gives them a good chance, that same good quarterback they had last year is even better now, I'd say. So maybe he doesn't have those NFL receivers anymore, but they still know how to get up and down the field. I'll say it that way.
Yeah.
And of course, John Haycock, I have great respect for John. I've known him a long time. He's got a lot in common with Phil Parker. Those are two of the better coordinators in defensive football. I
mean, I know Iowa fans don't want to hear this right now, but Iowa has 2 really good losses. If you're ranking losses, Iowa State and Indiana, it's just, like I said, I didn't think they were going to lose to Indiana at home, but they did. And I know Tom doesn't want to hear this, but I mean, it's just the reality. But their losses, it's not like they're losing games they should win.
No, but you got to win those close games.
But not if you're not as good as the other teams.
Well, but that's the point. Well, we're not as good as they are.
Well, talking about matching up against Penn State, we all know this. We match up well against Penn State.
Yeah.
We always have. We always will, because we have a similar style of play.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you might argue that they're more explosive and all that, but I bet if you look at a lot of numbers, our numbers are very similar. And the great equalizer, of course, is an outstanding defense. Defenses can control offenses. More so, just ask Indiana.
Yeah.
Indiana fans will tell you, my God, this is all we can do to muster 300 yards offense against you guys. They're believers now in Iowa Iowa defense, that's for sure. So I don't doubt that we have a good chance to beat Penn State. let's just have momentum going into that.
That's what, yeah,
game.
you need momentum, yep.
And we got to do a number on Wisconsin. I don't want to just beat them. I want to beat them and gain confidence with how we played them.
No, yeah.
And that would mean we beat them in a more comfortable win. Maybe something better than a one-score game. One-score game will suffice, but let's face it, I want these young guys that haven't played a lot.
Yeah.
I want them to
Get
gain
some
confidence.
action. I will.
How they can play, because Penn State will be tough. We know that.
They are starting to.
70,000 people helping us, and that always helps.
The transfer from Troy, who shredded Iowa last year, he's now getting more. I guess he was injured a lot during preseason, but he's now getting more involved in their offense. And they showed, I think he may have scored 2 touchdowns Saturday. What's his name? Devontae Ross, I believe. Uh-huh. Yeah, and they're figuring out ways. But I've just never been a huge Drew Aller fan. I don't want to.
He's no Trace McSorley.
He just doesn't seem to have in big games. So maybe Iowa can rattle him. But again, we got to focus on Wisconsin. I feel pretty confident about the Wisconsin game. I just think Iowa's a better team.
I agree with you. He's no Trace McSorley.
No.
Because I do have a lot of respect for Trace McSorley. And I don't even know if he's ever gotten in an NFL game, but I know he's on a roster.
He's been on a roster, yeah.
And they wouldn't pay him a lot of money unless they had a lot of confidence with how he could play. He made a believer out of me that back in 17, that game where we both went the length of the field at the end of the game.
Yeah, what a game that was. That was the Saquon Barkley game,
yes,
wasn't it?
What a game.
What a game. That was fun to watch. You just kind of wished he was on Iowa's team. But, man, some of the stuff he did. But anything else, Tom? I mean, the hour, I can't believe it's an hour's up again.
I hope that the team enjoys getting healthy and getting their focus back for the Wisconsin game, because we can't, as Pat said earlier, we can't lose that game. We have to win that game.
Could you imagine not enjoying getting healthy? Oh man, I feel better today than I did yesterday. I'm kidding, of course, but no, you're right. You got to take advantage of this time.
Just relax a little bit.
Yeah, exhale and
yes.
just kind of recalibrate.
Yeah.
Well, we had some guys we lost the game yesterday. Saturday. But we did gain some of those guys that were a little bit inexperienced. They gained some confidence with how they played. Mm-hmm. My gosh, let's talk a little bit about Intringer. Let's talk about Luckner. Those guys played well.
I thought Wamka had a couple, but I think their safeties are fine. I don't worry about their defense. Their defense is fine. Yeah, they had some missed tackles.
Nothing's changed. Xavier's playing the best football that he's ever played at Iowa right now.
He is delivering the lumber, man. He's hitting hard.
And that's a tough spot to be in, because almost every tackle you make has the potential to be a long gainer. And he made a lot of them. He's not perfect, but he's playing with a lot of physicality. He's playing with a lot of passion. And those are good things to see. And number 4 and number 6, they're going to be okay.
I agree.
They made plays too. They gained confidence with how they could play. There's just a lot of guys that haven't played that much maybe, but that are feeling better about how they play the game. We got some guys on offense that gained confidence too. I think Sam Phillips now, Sam Phillips had confidence in himself already, but now a lot of teammates are gaining confidence in him too.
Sure, yeah. He's kind of emerging.
It all starts with the guy throwing the ball, of course.
You're right about that. So do we want to do this next Monday with a bye week, or what do you guys?
What do you think, Donnie?
I'd like to, simply because I do know this. We got 6 more conference games this next weekend. I can't remember who all of them are, but it'd be easy to talk about those.
Sure,
games,
we'll do.
That just got played.
Yeah,
Wisconsin versus Michigan.
Talking about taking on Wisconsin after that trip to Michigan.
Okay, yeah, we'll plan on doing it next week then. All right, Donnie.
Great.
Plan on doing it next week. At least we know we won't be talking about a loss. We won't be talking about a win either. But we'll plan on doing it again. Thanks again. Enjoy the week, Don, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Well, everyone should have reason to remain optimistic.
Sure.
As you mentioned, Pat, we've lost 2 football games that are heartbreakers, but we've lost them to 2 really good teams. Mm-hmm. It is entirely possible. 10-2 is possible. Not going to be easy. That's for damn sure. There's all kinds of people that are good enough to beat us, but don't ever underestimate Iowa football, because let's just face it. We've surprised a lot of people for the last 40-something years, and we're going to surprise some more before this season's played out too. Hopefully it'll all start. I guess we won't surprise too many people if we beat Wisconsin, but we'll surprise some when we beat Penn State.
That
and
would
then
surprise
we'll,
them.
Then the ultimate challenge will be to win out. That'll be difficult to do because any number of them can trip us up.
Yep.
So it's really just, think of it as a hurdle race. We just got to get over the next hurdle.
That's it.
Just focus on the next hurdle because any of those hurdles can trip you up.
All right, Donnie. Great.
One at a time, and let's go get them.
All right.
All right.
Great stuff
Take
as
care,
usual,
guys.
Donnie. Enjoy the week, and we'll talk to you next Monday.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. You bet. Bye-bye.
Yep. All right. Let's take our break, and we'll be back with more.
From the Harty and Stalker Studios in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
Harty and Stalker Jewelers, making memories, making moments.
This sunny and really warm stretch of weather is going to continue through the rest of the week and into the upcoming weekend. I think that by the time we get into early next week, things will start to be a little more seasonal, but not until then. Today, sunshine, 88 this afternoon, south wind at 5 to 15, 59 tonight. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high of 88. Wednesday, partly cloudy, 85. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Temperature now 67.
KCJJ weather, brought to you by Plum Supply.
Plum Supply kitchens and baths. Your home never looks so beautiful.
1-800-800-ROSE. 1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist is the only number you need to know to send flowers anywhere in the country or Canada from anywhere in the country. 1-800-800-ROSE. It's so easy. Just remember one number. 1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist. 1-800-800-ROSE. Remember,
don't wait for an emergency to get a backup for your car keys. Unlike the olden days, car keys have gotten extremely complex. Mike's eKeys for Cars can generate the most technically advanced automotive keys that are on the market today. For spares and lost keys, Mike's eKeys for Cars can produce most conventional transponder, high security, and remote head keys. Mike's eKeys for Cars will keep you on the road. Call 319-330-9185 and schedule an appointment today. Don't wait until it's too late. Call 319-330-9185 today.
For a gift that your loved one will treasure for a lifetime, find it at our family-owned jewelry store in Iowa City, Harty and Stalker Jewelers.
We can show you diamond engagement rings, colored stones, fashion jewelry, and watches.
Our jewelers are on site so we can design jewelry for that special person in your life.
We are Harty and Stalker, serving Iowa City and the surrounding area for 3 generations.
Harty and Stalker Jewelers, downtown Iowa City, and HartyandStalkerJewelers.com. Ask for Willa, Terry, Tim, or Kate. One of us is always there.
Hanging lights is a pain. Dealing with blown bulbs, dangerous installations, and the endless rat's nest of cords, there's gotta be a better way, and now there is. Illuma Lights permanent outdoor lighting from Big Dog Tech. Illuma Lights provides illumination for every occasion. Holiday lighting, accent lights, security, and of course, lighting for the best season, football season. The Illuma Lights app lets you create your own patterns with color, motion, brightness, and static control over every individual light, or use Big Dog's presets to transform your home or business. The professionally installed track system makes Illuma Lights LEDs virtually disappear until you turn them on. Rated at 50,000 hours, you'll enjoy stress-free convenience for years to come. No more ladders, no more hooks, no more wifey's dirty looks. That's the song you'll be singing all year long with Illuma Lights permanent outdoor lighting from Big Dog Tech. Find out more at BigDogTek.net or call 319-395-0800.
Hi, I'm Jim Street, owner of Streets Maintenance. As a licensed, insured, and bonded master plumber, I specialize in all plumbing repairs, including but not limited to water heater and sump pumps to toilet and faucet repairs and replacements. As an Iowa City native, I know how frustrating it can be when any part of your plumbing system breaks down. That's why I only use trusted brands and quality materials. I offer same-day, next-day service coupled with a fair price. I also offer general services to mobile homes. For more information about my business, I'm online at streetsmaintenance.com and Facebook, or give me a call at 400-4483, 400-4483.
Streets Maintenance, honest plumbing at a fair price.
Hawkeye fans, you love watching the black and gold. You know Hawkeye Black and Gold. As a Hawkeye fan, there are no better colors than the Hawkeye Black and Gold. Hi, I'm Steve Anderson. When you're buying, selling, or refinancing your property, consider the green and white team, Hawkeye Title and Settlement. Give us a call at 351-8600. Hawkeye Title and Settlement. The team you love, the people you trust.
Don't let just anyone take care of your smile. At Diamond Dental, you can expect compassion, expertise, and a personalized care plan to protect your teeth for life. With more than 30 years of combined experience, Dr. Forbes and his staff are prepared to tackle even your toughest dental problems, leaving your smile healthy and sparkling. Diamond Dental offers a full range of general and cosmetic dentistry, as well as dental treatment options for snoring and sleep apnea. It's never too early to start thinking about what's best for your smile. Schedule an appointment today by calling 319-390-3703 or visiting the office at 5815 Consul Street Northeast, Suite D1 in Cedar Rapids. You can also visit DiamondDentalPC.com for more information. Dr. Forbes is a proud sponsor of the Hawkeye Wrestling Club and the Inner Circle. Let the Diamond Dental team provide superior care for your entire family.
This is Leah Pasha, and I've been saying, hit a deer, call Premier, for years. But it's time for something new. It's still where you need to go for deer divots and door dings, as well as damaged dashboards. That's what my dad Nathan's driving at and dreams about. Why not say, when your car is dinged, be a deer and call Premier? I think Dad's going to love that. Premier Automotive, North Liberty's premier auto body repair shop.
Be a deer and call Premier Auto Body in North Liberty.
Diamond Dream Sports Academy, 20,000 square foot indoor facility, holds 8 batting cages, space for infield work, space for throwing and pitching and all your arm care needs. Offers private instruction, group lessons, camps and clinics, leagues, memberships. Rentals available at Diamond Dreams is open to the public.
Our top level instructors include former professional, college, and Olympic athletes. Our coaches will help these athletes achieve their full athletic potential, develop a strong work ethic, and a solid base to build. The last thing you want to do is look back and wish you had worked or played harder.
Locally owned and established in 2005, Diamond Dreams is Eastern Iowa's premier training facility. Located at 2905 Stoner Court, North Liberty. Call today and reserve your time. 319-665-2173. 319-665-2173.
When you go to a family restaurant, you want 3 things. 1, a wide selection of breakfast, lunch, and dinner items. 2, you want those selections to be affordable and delicious. And 3, you want to be treated like family. You get all 3 at the Midtown Family Restaurant. Breakfast items available anytime the doors are open. Legendary tenderloins, onion rings, and hot roast beef sandwiches. Daily specials at each location, and no matter if you're coming in solo or with a group of 20, you get the same special family treatment. The Midtown Family Restaurants at Court and Scott Streets and at the Walmart Plaza on Highway 1 West. Follow them on Facebook or at MidtownFamily.com. The family's waiting for you. GT Carr, owner of Supple's Building and Remodeling, has been offering unmatched service and quality for over 25 years. The trained professionals at Supple's Building and Remodeling will install and guarantee the products used in any job, no matter how big or small. They also stand behind their work and offer no-nonsense, exceptional customer service from design to completion and beyond. Whether it's a simple window replacement or a major house addition, you'll have the confidence that Supple's Building and Remodeling is committed to quality. Visit Supples.net or call them today at 319-337-2246.
Hi, this is Tiffany at Senior Benefits. Are you confused with Medicare questions, anything having to do with Medicare? I take care of all Medicare customers, people under 65. I also do life insurance, long-term care, cancer insurance. I'm here to help you navigate any questions that you may be having or frustrations and anxiety that you may have with Medicare or insurance in general. Give me, Tiffany Rao, a call at 319-631-4795.
When someone is kind enough to share their time with us, we better make it worth their while.
They don't want to do people call it the game, right?
Patrick Eads and Terry Adams of Deary Brothers Ford talk about what here for you means to them.
You don't have to spend a half a day in our dealership to get that good competitive price. We just want to try to deliver that to you up front.
And that makes me feel good, makes me proud.
Because that's what people want. They want a fair, honest deal.
As far as a statement here for you, we want to not just say it, but live it.
Find out what it means to you at Deary Ford in Iowa City.
Football fans, this is Bill Leixenring of the Oxyoke Inn. We are on your way to or from the game. We're ready to serve you with the same quality food and customer service you've come to trust for over 80 years. The Oxyoke Inn is serving our famous Sunday brunch buffet with lunch, dinner, banquets, and carry-out daily. From our Oxyoke family to yours, we can't wait to see you again soon in the heart of Amana.
We believe bleed black and gold. We're Hawkeyes, the mighty 1630 KCJJ.
We're back.
Are we?
Yeah.
Are we glad?
No. So anyway.
Okay. Wow.
How about my Verizon story? I got the good side, the happy side of Verizon.
Yeah.
They credited me $90.
All right.
They wanted to charge me for 2 weeks of using those two phones, and I'm like, and they said, well, let us review your file. And then they called me back 5 minutes later and said, we've reviewed your file, and we're going to credit you. So I thank you to Verizon.
That was nice of them.
That was nice of them.
Yeah.
And they also gave me a $50 credit earlier, so that pays for all the stuff I had to buy when I shouldn't have had to buy it. So we're good.
So
right
you're
now.
happy.
I'm okay right now. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So what do you got there? What are you reading there?
I'm just looking at the games this week. Buys are Iowa, USC, Rutgers, Oregon, and Indiana. And there's a couple good games and a couple of mismatches, but we got.
Well, I'll be surprised if Wisconsin scores more than 10 points against Michigan. I mean, Wisconsin's offense is terrible.
They are,
especially without their starting quarterback.
And we don't know. He could be back though.
He might be back, but it's one of those injuries where he takes a tough hit. He's hurt again. I mean, he got hurt. They tried to have him play against Maryland. He lasted one series, and
he couldn't go.
He had to maneuver a little bit, and the knee gave out on him again. So and the backup is
he's not good,
not very good, and he runs a lot and he gets hit. I mean,
O'Neal.
Michigan's defense will kill him. I mean, the way they play, they're very physical.
Illinois at Purdue should be.
Purdue's better. I mean, I know Notre Dame boat raced them. Notre Dame, even though they've lost 2 games, Notre Dame's offense is really good. Their running game's good. Purdue is much better, though. They've got decent receivers. Their quarterback's pretty good. I mean, they're not by any means a 7-8 win team, but Purdue is at least formidable. They can give you a challenge, whereas last year they had no chance.
Illinois is going to have to play at least a reasonable game.
If Illinois plays up to its potential, it should win by a couple touchdowns.
Penn State at UCLA, that could be.
I mean, UCLA lost at Northwestern 17-14.
Yeah, that's.
Could you have imagined?
I think enough said, huh?
Could you have imagined having to watch that game? I didn't even realize it was on. That was a game that Northwestern had to win. Now I think Northwestern has 3 wins. You watch Northwestern; they'll find a way to finish 5-7 or 6-6 when really they're probably a 3-9 or 2-10 team.
Yeah.
Whereas I think UCLA is going to go winless in the conference play.
Well, they might. If they aren't going to beat Northwestern, it's not going to get much easier.
No, I could see them going 0-9.
Well, Northwestern has UL Monroe coming into Chicago.
Oh, that's their 3rd win,
yes,
or whatever. Yeah, that'll be their 4th win or 3rd. Yeah, I don't know who they beat in their other 2 non-conference games. I believe they won. Well, no, they may have lost one of their non-conference games, but no, that's a game Northwestern has to win to get anything out of the season because they're not very good.
And this should be a real competitive game, I would think. Washington at Maryland, pretty
that
similar.
Should be a really interesting game. That's a game Maryland's 4-0, aren't they? I think Maryland is 4-0. They won handily at Wisconsin.
Yes,
and if Maryland wins that and they're 5-0, then Maryland has a chance to have a decent season. Washington gave Ohio State, what was it, 24-6?
Yeah. They gave them a game for.
They gave them a game.
They had 3 quarters.
They gave them a game for 3 quarters.
Yep.
And Ohio State's defense, though, is just playing at such a high level, and they have got so much talent. Ohio State's more talented than Indiana. I mean, watching that game Saturday, I'm like, no, Cignetti has done wonders here, but this is not Ohio State.
No,
this is not Ohio State.
Although I think I'd take Mendoza over Sayin.
I would definitely take Mendoza over Sayin. But I'm not sure if there's too many other positions where I'd take the Indiana guy over the Ohio State guy.
Michigan State at Nebraska.
That should be an interesting one. I think Nebraska will win that game. But this might be the kind of season, if Michigan State's to have one of those breakthroughs, this is the kind of game you have to win.
Yeah.
I mean, Iowa plays at Nebraska to end the season. I don't feel real confident about that. Even in years where Iowa's had a markedly better team, the games have almost always gone down to the wire.
Yeah, they sure have.
And Nebraska won one recently, so at least they've kind of tasted some success against Iowa. But no, that's a tough game. We got breaking news.
Hawkeye Men's Wrestling announces Big Ten schedule. Hawkeyes host Wisconsin January 9th, Penn State January 16th. Yeah, that's a good one. Minnesota January 30th, Michigan, February 13th. Those are the Big Ten duels. March 7th and 8th are the Big Ten championships. NCAA's March 19 to 21. Road duels at Nebraska, at Ohio State, at Michigan State, and at Purdue.
There you go. What do you think of that, Captain?
Scoop.
Scoop.
You heard it here.
Sadly, it's been on Twitter for an hour. Iowa Wrestling tweeted it like an hour ago. And they sent me an email like an hour ago, too. I just don't have anyone to post.
Heard it here first.
I'll post it up on my site when I get home.
Well, if you're not surfing, you did hear it here first.
Yeah, if you happen to be listening to KCJJ Radio, they are your source for Iowa wrestling.
Yeah.
Minnesota at number 1 Ohio State. Should be a...
I'm guessing Ohio State will win that game 34 to like 17, something like that. Minnesota seems to be like they always are under PJ Fleck, capable of winning anywhere from 6 to 9 games.
Yeah.
That looks like another season. Their quarterback did have over 300 yards passing last week. That's my thing with Iowa. I know Gronowski is showing progress, but if you're going to critique his game, the completion percentage was great. They're just not getting any yards.
And we're nothing downfield.
Nothing downfield. It's just easy underneath routes, and your completion percentage is going to be better.
Yeah.
And it's just getting to the point where they're just not threatening it all downfield, and it's making it so much easier for Iowa, that play that Indiana scored on. If that was Iowa running that play, I guarantee you the pass would have been either low, high, behind to where the receiver would have had to have stopped his momentum and give the cornerback enough time to make a tackle like 11 yards downfield as opposed to a touchdown.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
what it seems like has been Iowa's issue.
Hello.
Hello. Do you think J.S. Patterson should be back by...
Well, it's an ankle injury. It just depends. I don't know. I haven't heard the severity. I mean, it was bad enough for him to miss the game a week later. So,
Yeah.
So I mean, that's another one. He's
got 2 weeks.
Got 2 weeks. So
He would have really helped us.
I think he definitely would have helped because it was tight lanes. They needed a really hard runner in there.
Yeah, we just had everything going for us, and then we lose our quarterback. And
when Lutmer made that interception, I
thought they were going to win.
We're going to win this game.
No, I don't know if they had
I was sure we were going to win.
Yeah, I was pretty
We had Indiana
confident.
people right in front of us, and they were sure we were going to
But
win.
I never felt like the Iowa offense was like dictating anything.
No.
I mean, I thought it was avoiding mistakes for the most part, but I wasn't as impressed with the Iowa offense as some people seem to be.
No,
I just
was
wasn't.
not. I just remotely impressed.
No.
And Suter, did you get hot?
Oh, it was boiling.
I thought it was terrible.
Yeah,
Was it really?
I'm rooting
Yeah.
for these colder days.
At halftime, we had to go down and get out of the sun because it was brutal.
Did you have like 2 or 3
Well,
beers?
by the time the sun reached us, it was the middle of the fourth quarter.
Eesh.
But we had wet towels around us. We went and got towels and got them wet, and then we put those around us, and that helped.
Yeah, it was rough. 3.5 quarters, it was really, really uncomfortable.
And some people were complaining about. They said they didn't see that the whole Indiana football team was waving, and I said, well, that's their business.
Yeah, I mean, God. Of all the problems in this world, the fact that the whole Indiana team wasn't waving, who cares?
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, I did.
Well, that's what
Did
I said.
Signetti wave?
I noticed some of them waving,
think
but
so.
I said, I don't care. This is their business, not ours.
Signetti didn't wave. I don't know
I
why.
don't think he did.
No, he was booing the kids.
Booing the kids. We're kidding. Yeah, I think it's cool when they do it, but it's really none of our business if they don't.
Well, and some of them may wave sort of at the waist. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I mean,
And there were some of the starters and stuff were out in the middle of the field, and they weren't waving as much.
And they were
as
talking to each other, and
that's whatever.
Well, they were in a close game against Illinois. They were already the game was already over. Against Iowa, they were in a heated battle, literally and figuratively. So
they were fighting for their life, and too bad.
Yeah.
Now, Minnesota, P.J. Fleck was the first visiting team to do the wave, and they did it before Iowa started doing the wave, and I think that's part of the reason.
Oh, yeah, well, they all got out in the middle.
Oh, yeah, that's part of the reason I think
some
Iowa.
of the teams, they all get out in the middle.
And fans were saying, well, if Michigan or Minnesota's doing the wave, we need to do it, and then Iowa has started doing the wave since then. I think it's great, but I'm not going to judge teams if they don't do it. That's their business.
No, I figure that, You know, some of them probably don't have the slightest idea what everybody's doing, and they're just too busy.
They're just
interested
preoccupied.
in what they have to do.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, and the coaches have some teaching to do.
Would I prefer that they do it? Sure. I mean, and you know, because that's just, you know, life is all fuzzy and hugs and kisses, but sometimes they're not going to do it. But I don't even look to see what the teams do.
There's a good video of a black lab that's watching the wave on TV and raises its paws.
Oh.
And the black lab waves?
Yeah, the black
That's
lab.
good.
It's waving.
I like it.
Well, you guys have a good day.
All right, thanks, Karen.
Yeah, I that's interesting, though, because I used to always wait for the wave to see what I don't even, now it's just, I love it. I think it's great, but I didn't even pay attention because I was busy doing something, you know, but it's still the best tradition in sports. I love it. But not every team's going to go out there and, you know, get as involved as some do. Some do it more than others.
Yeah, it's not a big thing to me. I will always wave. Fans will always wave.
Yeah, and it's Iowa's tradition. It's a really neat tradition.
I like to see the officials wave.
I like seeing that too, and I like seeing the opposing.
I do too.
I would like to have seen Kurt Signetti wave if he did wave, or if he did. I don't know. I mean, I would prefer that they do wave, but if they don't, I'm not going to hold that against them.
He's holding up a sign saying "Sit down."
And I do not believe that he flipped him off. I really don't think that.
Called him overrated.
Yeah, you kids are overrated.
I still think it is such a neat tradition, and I love it when they roll the camera up and you see the families and the kids wave.
No, it's cool.
It's cool. It means a great deal. But yeah, like I said,
you can't force the other team.
You can't force the other. And most of them do it.
Yeah.
And some of the Indiana players did it, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. So yeah, but no, they were probably. I'm not saying they were in panic mode going into the second quarter, but they were like, "Wow, this is unusual. Where's Illinois when you need them?" You know. Yeah. So it was I thought for a while, and I know I say that, didn't you think for a while, like the second, third, got a little boring? They made an Indiana game kind of boring, and I mean that as a compliment to the Iowa defense. Indiana didn't do...
It wasn't boring to me, because the longer it went and stayed close, the better chance we had. So I was on pins and needles.
Yeah, see, I'm never on pins and needles watching sports, but I'm like, wow, that's another boring series for Indiana. They didn't do anything, and Mendoza's walking off the field again frustrated. That went on a lot during the second, third, and most of the fourth quarter.
Hello.
Hey, dude.
Hey.
Hey, I was particularly impressed, no offense, Suter, but I was particularly impressed with Dan McCarney on Saturday.
Oh, no, I like Dan. I was glad to see Dan.
I know. I'm kidding about the grade school fight.
You beat the hell out of Dan.
I
heard it.
I really didn't. It was a draw.
I don't.
Yeah.
You're being.
I haven't forgotten.
I feel like Dan McCarney did the job of, guest presenter in a TV break better than anybody else has in the history of the games there.
Well, I thought he
tried to rile people up.
Yep. Well, he was very good, has always been good at that. Always.
Yeah. Sometimes at Iowa's expense.
Yeah.
He was at Iowa State.
For sure.
His halftime speech in 2002, that's credited with leading that turnaround.
Yeah.
Yep. So I was pretty impressed with McCarney, and yes, there were plenty of Hoosier players that were waving. People caught screenshots of people who weren't waving, but all's well that ends well.
Okay, good to hear. Something to get mad about. You always have to have rage.
No.
All about rage. Rage
Have a good day, guys.
All right.
All right.
It's rage bait, Captain.
Rage
bait.
against the machine.
Rage against the machine. Yeah. System of the down. How about that? What's going on there?
Well, they're down.
See, I'd never heard of them until you guys started talking about it.
I've never heard
Seven Dust.
Seven Dust is what my niece listened to 23 years ago when she lived in my house in Coralville. Seven Dust and Corn and just...
Yeah. Nice songs.
Yeah, Seven Dust. Corn. Pantera. Slayer. Dokken.
Donnie Dokken.
That was neat, though, seeing Donnie P down there with those guys on the field. And the whole weekend, like I said, it would have been much better with a win, but Iowa showed something to me on Saturday. They showed that they're a little better than I thought they were. And but I also did have them winning the game. I mean, I had them winning 27-24, and I know people thought that was outlandish, but my prediction really wasn't that off.
No, it wasn't.
They're not much worse than Indiana. I think if they played 10 times, Indiana might win 6. And if they played on a neutral field, I mean, who knows? I mean, but Indiana made basically one more play than Iowa did.
Well, they did.
That's what it came down to.
Yeah.
And it came down to a play, one-on-one play, where it just comes down to execution. And I do agree. I mean, of course, we're using hindsight. But when I look back at the replay of that, my first reaction is, Deshaun, that's a lot of cushion. But then, let's say he gets further up on him. Sherritt does like a fake at the line of scrimmage and then just blows by him, and they throw him. Then you say, well, he didn't give him enough cushion. You know, there's going to always be an answer if it doesn't go the way you want. You're going to have another.
For sure.
Hindsight always has an answer. So, but they did give him a lot of cushion, and the safeties were blitzing. There was no help, and that's just Indiana took advantage of it, and that's what good teams do.
Well, and if we had executed the screen pass, they never would have had a chance to even have that play.
Yeah.
But we didn't. And make the field goal, and that would have changed the field position, and it could have changed everything.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
Ifs, ands, what is it? Ifs, ands, butts, and nuts. Is that the same?
Well, what is
Ifs and buts were candy and nuts,
we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah. Or if my aunt had this, she'd be my uncle. Is that
my
where
aunt
we are right
had
now?
she'd be her uncle.
Is that where we are right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
With your aunt.
With my aunt? Well, all my aunts are dead. They are.
Yeah.
Mine well,
too.
that's what happens when you get into your 60s.
Mine are too.
Yeah. So, but trying to think if there's anything else.
Fever had a big win.
Yes, I don't think they'll win Game 5.
I don't either.
But, God, that would be incredible if they did. I cannot believe that they're doing all this without Caitlin and those other players. It's just it's strange. I never would have expected this.
No.
What I like this, too, though, and Caitlin handles, this is going to put a lot of pressure on Caitlin going into next season. It really is. And I think that's cool, though, because I think that's what legends do. They meet pressure. They're going to have to, I mean, if they don't at least get to the semifinals of that's going to, people will have, sure. Whether it's her fault or not, people, hey, what's going on? They look what they did without you.
They did better without you.
I think that's going to motivate her, though, and fuel her, assuming she gets healthy. I mean, what's so weird is we don't get any reports on her status. It's just the strangest injury that I can think of, just the secrecy behind it.
Yep.
I mean, she looks perfectly fine on the bench, and I mean, it's just weird. I'm assuming
going around the auditorium.
I'm assuming at some point this fall or winter,
the arena just signing.
They'll announce that she's back to practice full scale, and that's the next step. But obviously, we're not there yet. But no, it's a great story. I actually watched a little bit of it. I did. I mean, they're right there with them. I mean,
they're a good team.
I mean, if Game 5 was in Cambridge, I'd probably pick Indiana. Aaliyah Boston to me is she's holding her own against Asia Wilson. I mean, she's having a great series. So, what's her name? Lexi Hull's playing well. I mean, Steph White to me has just done an incredible job of coaching. Amazing job of coaching.
Yeah,
she really has.
So all those morons who were saying fire Stephanie White, she can't.
I got some responses to me. A couple stuff I wrote. Pat, there's no more than 3 or 4 wins left. It's time. Kirk's got to go. That stuff started already. I mean, that it's time for Kirk to go. And I know people that wanted a coaching change even before the season started, but I don't think the narrative should change based on what we've seen so far in the field. I don't think what we've seen so far in the field indicates that Kirk is losing grasp of the program. They've lost to 2 really good teams and by 8 points combined. It sucks. I mean, it still counts as a 3-2 record. I get it. But to say that, this shows that everything is past Kirk by its time. I got some of that right after the law.
Losing those 2 close games means the chance for a special season.
It's done.
It's done.
I know, Donnie, the 10-2, it could happen. I mean, go back to 2004. But even without a running attack, this offense isn't as good as 2004. 2004 somehow, they had the player of the year playing quarterback. Drew Tate caught lightning in a bottle that year.
Yes, he did.
They had a really good defense that year. And that was a good team. And the 2004 schedule wasn't anything like this schedule. Nothing like this schedule. And that's what I wrote about yesterday. Guys, this is the schedule. Yeah. That's what's happening.
That's right.
This is the schedule. This schedule's probably very well could take a pretty good Iowa football team and give it a 7-5 record.
No, that's true.
And that's what I wrote about.
But that's why you can't let games like Saturday slip
exactly.
away.
Well, we were warned about this, though. We saw this coming.
Yes.
We saw the schedule is rearing its ugly head, and it's as bad as we thought. And it looks like it potentially could get worse.
Yes.
And I'll still say, if they finish set with 3-2, and if they go 4-3 over that last 7 games, that ain't going to be easy.
No, it isn't.
And that's 7-5.
We will have to beat everybody we're supposed to beat, and
okay, if you can argue right now, when the game against Nebraska comes on, we don't know what the circumstance is going to be if they're supposed to beat Nebraska.
No, that's true.
I mean, to me, Wisconsin's the only game right now on paper that Iowa, even though it's there, that you could make an argument. Iowa should win that, and maybe Michigan State at home, but we don't know. Michigan State might be on the verge of having and Michigan State beat Iowa last year. There, granted, but with a quarterback who's playing way better now than he was back then.
Yeah.
So
he looked good against Iowa.
7-5 is not going to be easy.
No.
7-5 will not be easy. But you take it one game at a time, and we'll see. I mean, 7-5 will not go over well either. I mean,
and 8-4 is still possible, but
still possible.
To do that, we either have to beat
I
one
think,
of those two, Penn State or Oregon, and then win 3 out of the 4.
I think 7-5 is looking more likely than 8-4 right now.
Probably.
But like I said, we could all be wrong. This is all just guesswork and what have you. But no, that's why you wanted. I had them 4-1 at this stage.
Yeah, me too.
And I know it's only one game, but a lot more margin for error at 4-1 as opposed to 3-2.
Yeah. 4-1, and everything was still on the table.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 4-1. But if you thought that this was 10-2, no worse than 10-2, that's your fault. That's just being delusional.
I never thought that.
No, and I don't know. I'm sure there were some people. I had them going 9-3, and that looks borderline delusional right now. I mean, I had them losing to
borderline delusional.
I had them losing to Iowa State, Oregon, and USC. I had them beating Penn State, and we'll see. I was not impressed with Penn State's off. I was surprised that Penn State could not run the ball better against Oregon with those 2 running backs they had.
Those 2 running backs, they
never really got it going. So that makes me think that Penn State might have trouble running the ball against Iowa.
Well, and it also tells you that Oregon's a pretty damn
good defense. And what Oregon's going to do to Iowa defensively, my concern is at least Oregon's offense. I'm worried about them putting Iowa into these one-on-one physical mismatches. Kind of like what the Surratt thing was. Just a lot of players out on islands where it comes down to this guy having to tackle this guy in open field, and Oregon often wins those battles.
They do.
So we'll see.
Well, your great teams do.
Yeah. So we done, Captain?
Well, I think.
Remember, no show. I'll call in Wednesday, depending on how things are going at home. But I will not be coming in Wednesday. You guys fired up for my colonoscopy?
We're excited.
Yeah, I thought you'd like YouTube it.
No, we've decided not to do that. People that do that have issues.
It might have gone viral.
Yeah.
You don't need that at all. I could only imagine the remarks on that.
Inside Pat Harty.
Well, I always knew he was an a-hole. I didn't need to see it. A lot of that.
Hello.
Good one.
Hey, Pat.
Hey, what?
Jesus.
I hope everything comes out okay.
Well,
once again, a fail.
You guys determine those. You guys decide whether it's pass.
I thought that was okay.
That was a fail?
Yeah.
You're not grading on a curve anymore, are you?
He sucks.
I heard you lashing out at him the other day, last Friday. I think.
Yeah, because he sucks.
You just went off on him.
He sucks.
Like a good football team after suffering adversity, he bounced back.
No, he didn't bounce back. He sucks.
So you thought that was a big L?
This guy's going 0-9.
I almost gave him a bell.
Is UCLA?
Yeah, that's what he is.
I almost gave him a bell.
No. That kind of pisses me off.
That I almost gave him a bell?
Yeah.
Traitor?
I didn't.
Is he a traitor?
He sucks. Tom?
Seems harsh.
He sucks.
Okay, him or Paul?
Oh, God.
Haven't heard from Paul today. Paul sent in a message with his silence.
Thank you, Paul.
Radio this, he's saying.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks again to Donnie P. coming on. Great insight as usual.
Always.
And we'll have him on again next Monday, even though Iowa's got a bye week.
We will. Molly Suter is next. HawkFanatic.com. Check it out. It's free.
KCJJ Weather.